apologize for the delay here. I know everybody's time is very valuable, so I apologize for that. I'm going to call to order the Village of Waterford Finance Committee meeting on October 6th, 2025 at 5:15 p.m. Rachel, do you have the roll call?
I do.
Thank you. Do we have any comments or correspondence?
For roll call, was Linda going to call in?
Do we want to give her a call? I didn't know if you guys wanted to do that.
If she wants to, if she's open to it, I think we should do it.
Thank you for reminding me.
Mm-hmm.
This is Linda.
Hi, Linda. This is Adam.
Hi, what's up?
You are on speakerphone. We just started the Finance Committee meeting. Would you like to stay on this call, or have you found the cabana or wherever you are?
Well, I can stay on for a little bit.
It's totally up to you.
Yeah, I can't stay for the first part of it. I have to excuse myself probably shortly after 6 if it goes that late.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we'll keep you on then, okay?
Okay, very good.
Okay. Any comments or correspondence?
No,
For
sir.
me, no.
Nope. No public appearances that I'm aware of. Okay. Looking for reading and approval of our last meeting minutes from September 22nd of 2025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any questions or comments regarding those minutes? All right, hearing none. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Our minutes are approved. All right, moving on to new business, item number 1 of the evening, presentation and discussion of the 2026 budget on various budget sections, including Gen Gov, hotel room tax, flex plan, conservation and development, garbage and recycling, Riverside Docks, parks and facilities, park impact fees, streets, court and police, EMS, interfacility, special funds, TIF number 2, TIF number 3, TIF number 3, water, sewer, water capital, sewer capital, debt service, and when we get through all that, we consider an appropriate motion for action. So if you could start us off, Administrator Jackson, that would be wonderful.
Sure. So we'll begin this on page 3 of your budget. This begins with your general government revenue. You will see an increase in general property tax collections as a combination of the termination of TID number 2 as well as net new construction. So we're still staying within levy limits. Both Treasurer Vandehay and I have reached out to the Wisconsin Department of Revenue. We believe that their computational methodology for termination of TID number 2 revenue is off, that our revenue should be somewhere in the ballpark of $200,000 of increase. Instead, they're coming up with something that's like more in the ballpark of $50,000 in increase, and if that's the case, then there will be dramatically lower revenue for all of the underlying districts, and I think it will result in a tax decrease spread out amongst all of the property taxpayers in the jurisdiction. So we'll bring you an update on that when we hear something from the Milwaukee Department of Revenue office. A little bit of an increase in state shared revenue. I'm going to just kind of give you the high notes on this. Nothing nothing else on page 3. Any questions on page 3? Okay, going on to page 4. Major item of note there is that we are going to budget substantially more revenue for engineering that reflects more accurately the volume of activity that comes through. It's just a pass through for us. So it's not, like recognizing real revenue on your books, but it is a bit of an update, and more accurately record your interest income. So we've consistently under budgeted and then overperformed in that category in years past. Page 5, general government. Yes, sir.
Transfer from TID 3 went from 30,000 to 140,000.
Yes, sir. You need a balanced budget.
Okay.
Okay. Page number 5, general government expenses. Things are essentially the same one year to the next. There's no major contemplated change there. Any questions on page 5? Nope. Okay. Page 6. same thing, no major changes. The increase that you see in wages and salaries are due to COLA, as well as the conversion to full-time status of one of the employees from part-time. The board approved that several months ago. Judicial, same basic stuff there, and roll it down on page 6. This is all incremental budgeting. There's nothing that's
way down from.
yeah. So we've recoded and I guess I'll explain it. We've recoded wages across the different categories for admin personnel, and so what you're seeing there is just a capture of the judge's salary.
So is that why wages went up 95 grand?
Yep.
'Cause you
Yep,
put
we
Kathy in.
put Kathy in the other category. So Kathy's wages used to get coded here, and you can see there's a big drop as a corresponding.
The actual raise was 2.8%.
2.64 is what it should be. Yep. Okay. Okay. So going on, page 8, this is for election. We have swings based on what we anticipate the election cycle is going to be. This is a midterm election, so it's a bigger election, and we will up staff personnel for that accordingly. Page 9 is a breakdown of your village hall / administrative staff. We've reallocated, if you look down at the lower levels, some of those wages in the sewer system and water system, so we increased our water system allocation by 2%. Page 10, this is a summary of your activity, so revenues and expenses. So while your budget is not
Is that a typo in the middle there from 289 to 23,000?
where are you
Public
looking?
charges for services.
Yeah, so the sanitation income has moved over to its own fund. So that was sanitation income in that. That's why you see the big drop.
So garbage.
Garbage, yeah, garbage charges. You'll see it when we get back to garbage. So we used to recognize the income here and then spend it out of DPW. We reclassed DPW to create
Should be a
utilities.
separate fund.
Yeah, separate fund. It's its own thing. That and with the changes that came out of DPW for curbside pickup and recycling, we just want to track everything.
Okay, that was just huge.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
Yeah, so the revenue's still coming, it's just not there, it's in a different spot.
thank you.
Yes, sir. Page 11 is a summary of your non-major funds. So that's one that really Michelle and I use for audit purposes more than anything else. Going to page 12, that is your hotel room tax fund. We budget $35,000 in room tax. We think we'll be able to squeak out $10,000 from food and fun first. Here's noted as on Mondays on Main, and then advertising for the ice rink.
Question on the hotel.
Sure.
Are they actually paying on time?
No,
It's still a problem?
it's always been a challenge. Yeah, but I will say they've done better than what they have in years past. We still get lump payments from them, not the monthly, and then we have to go back and tease it apart. But it gets taken
But it's
care
not,
of.
it's cool. I mean, it's.
We deal with it.
Right.
No, it's not cool, but we
Well,
deal
it's not,
with
yeah,
it.
but
Right.
we get our funds.
Yeah, we do get our
Right.
funds. So we in the past had funded the hotel room tax section with general taxpayer money to the tune of $51,000 a year. We did not fund that in 24. We did not contemplate funding that in 25, and we are not funding that in 26. And so we've been pulling money year after year to support the various tourism-related activities that are paid for out of that fund. And so we plan to end the year, it's showing negative $784 fund balance. When we get to audit time, the goal is to bring it to zero, right? So just end with a zero fund balance, we don't have a buffer there anymore. So it'd be great to get some more lodging properties. Page 13 is Fund 224, that's our flex plan. So this is employee money in, employee money out. You will likely not see this fund beyond 2026, so we're aging out payout from the flex plan. Going on to page 14, this is conservation and development. This is mostly an in and out fund around developer billing. So developers have projects that need to be reviewed. We bill them for having them reviewed. Page 15, Fund 225 is recycling. So we get a small recycling grant from the state each year. We are now bringing garbage collection fees into that fund, the village dumpster fees, and special charges related to recycling. So your total income on this fund annually is $443,000. We do expense some of the wages for DPW crew out of that for handling various garbage and recycling items, and then the contracted service charges are located down at the bottom.
Hey, Z, this is Linda. I
Yes,
have a
ma'am.
question.
Sure.
On the recycling grant that's listed here, is that something that has to be renewed annually, or is that for a 3-year period, or how does that work? How does that happen?
It's
And is there a possibility it won't happen?
I don't see there being a possibility that it won't happen. It's a state grant. It's funded through tipping fees. It's a stable revenue stream.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
We don't have to apply for that. We just-
No, well, we gotta,
No,
John
we-
fills out paperwork when we apply for it.
Yeah, I don't remember any.
Yeah. Okay, page 16, really happy to report progress on the Riverside Docks Fund. So we continue to build a fund balance here. We were able to oversubscribe dock leasing on this facility by 1 slip, so we are gonna end up for the year picking up an extra $2,000 in revenue that we haven't budgeted for. Our boat launch fees consistently come in around that $13,000 to $15,000 mark. But when we have times of low enforcement, they slip. When we have times of high enforcement, they go up. Alyssa Robbins is in charge of that, and she does an excellent job. She had some health-related outages this year, so 2025 probably will end up being one of the lower years, but with her back on duty, I would expect 26 will be a banner year. So we continue to make debt service payments back to the sewer fund, an amount of $31,250, and also based on your capital budget, Alyssa is working on an expansion in the total number of slips using that available fund balance. Page 17 is parks and facilities. So again, we reclassed the number of wages. When you're looking at that across, we used to do a percent allocation of all DPW employees. We're trying to engage in better cost tracking. So over a number of years, you're going to start seeing singular employees plus part-timers coded into these various accounts. So this is Mike plus Greg plus part-timers, and those guys do a great job. So corresponding expenses are down there. Tent maintenance, we are going to pick up another top, so that's a $12,000 expenditure. You see there, we shredded, or Mother Nature shredded 2 tops this year.
Does insurance cover that?
It's not worth filing the claim.
Which tent?
The band shell. The other one's a 70-mile-an-hour wind rated tent, and it stood through everything. This one, not so much. The bigger band shell performance tent. So our deductible is $5,000 handy. If we make the claim, it's just going to make our premiums go up, and it's about a $6,000 tent top for a singular one.
Actually, it's $10,000 deductible.
Sorry, $10,000 deductible. Thanks, Linda. Yep. Park impact fees, we anticipate lower collection overall on these. Again, building activity, we anticipate being down. We're continuing to make transfers over the debt service fund to manage your park capital expenses that came out of here. So your fund balance there is going to be pretty minimal at the end of the year.
Question for you, Z.
Yes, ma'am.
Does Waterford River Rhythms contribute at all to that fund
For the tent,
for the band cover?
no, we take care of that for them. We support that organization. Yeah, they do a good job of raising money just to conduct the concert series, and I'm like beyond impressed they pull it off. Like, that is not the way it works in most communities, so kudos to those guys.
Is there any way we can ever do that every week instead of every other week?
I think that's an Al Secor question, and he's probably only got so much gas in the tank to manage it. That's not just
Or maybe
perception.
another organization? Are we stepping on toes? But
No, we
it really
alternate.
brings people downtown, and it's like, I hate that gap. You know?
We alternate movies in the park on the Thursdays that we don't have the concerts, and we'll get
I
50-ish.
think Burlington does it,
Yeah.
Yeah, he coordinates it with Burlington
Right,
because
and-
people do that.
I don't know, but I don't care about Burlington. I care about our downtown businesses, and I just, it's so, I mean, it's so cool on a Thursday when you drive through and the town's popping.
Sure.
And
I think there's some other things we can do on other days of the week that we'll be bringing forward based on some conversations that are going in the background.
Pedestrian bridge, Firehouse done.
Yep.
Instead of sitting there for years languishing, I think that's a great opportunity to keep your downtown popping.
Okay. Page 19, We have split apart parks and facilities, streets, water, and sewer. So your employees are now coded as individuals, not as percent allocations. Please note that we have placed a line item placeholder because we'll be making an ask in future years for this one for a part-time recreation director under parks and facilities. We are leaving money on the table with that concession stand sitting as it is. Kudos to the Lions Club and all the great work that they've done there. But you know, being open on a Friday and a Saturday when we've got potentially 7-day-a-week activity, the concession stand that Mike, I, and some others went and toured down in Illinois does $350,000 a year in toasted sub sandwiches out of there. It's the exact same building that we've got, and we've got more foot traffic coming through that park than what they did in their facility.
Well, when you drive through there in the summer, you got kids, and it's
Right.
just packed.
It's a lost opportunity.
It is.
And we're getting to the point of taking a conversation of a rec director, even if it's part-time, seriously in this community.
Okay.
With the amount of things that are.
We've got a lot going on.
Yep, but that's a missed opportunity.
Yep.
Because that's sitting empty all summer long.
It's all hot dogs all day there.
All day.
Yep.
All day.
All day.
Yes. So let us get through this. So the general plan on our end has been, we've got a potential court consolidation coming up. Kathy Lindblom's a long-time employee. At some point, she will retire. When Kathy retires, we'll look at changing that from a full-time position to a part-time position. It'd be really nice if we had a utilities payment kiosk to take up some of that volume. Hint, hint, wink, wink, nod, nod. But that part of Kathy's position will become the part-time rec position.
Cool.
So we'll continue to evaluate that. We may need to pull that trigger before her retirement. So let's.
I think we should.
Thank you for that input.
Yep, let's continue on. Page number 20, you now have a streets department fund set up. So it's a division of Fund 100, so it's taxpayer supported. I'm gonna sort of couch this by saying, and I've said it in earlier meetings, Rick Henning sitting beside me is an absolute wealth of knowledge. He knows where everything is, knows how to manage all of it, does an excellent job with it. Rick's told me for 5 years he's got 5 years left, and I don't know when Rick will actually retire, but at some point we need to be getting ready for when Rick says, hey, I'm going fishing every day, Zeke. And so this is one of the mechanisms that we're going to do that, is to track some of the things that he's had going on separately, so we can also better cost allocate towards them.
Just a side on the street maintenance.
Yes, sir.
Fairview residents are very happy
Good.
with the new way of doing things.
Good.
And it actually looks nice.
Good.
It's not as bumpy. I
Good.
think what a way to save money.
Yes, sir. So we will get better at it next year than we were this year. We'll get more of it done.
If you could just get ours fixed.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Well, you can thank Rick and his guys for that one. So road maintenance is $500,558. You've got another $55,000 going into crack filling. So, your total streets need is, let's call it north of $2 million a year. We're funding $583,000, but with the new methods that were employed, that $583,000 goes a lot further than what it did before when we were just doing mill and overlay projects. So our street management plan at this point involves ongoing maintenance, is what you saw in Fairview for every road that will qualify. We're going to continue to push out that same type of improvement on our streets because it buys us a lot of longevity. And then staff plans to bring back a number of roads. I'm going to use this map back here to illustrate because I think it's what we're talking about. We have some roads that are absolute failed. Tammy, you drive on one of them every day. So that's the Rivermore Drive neighborhood, Rivermore Parkway, Rivermore Circle and Court. Clump Lane has failed. Whippletree Lane, Fox River Hills, Redcoat, and Foxhorn are all failed roadways. Anyone that's ridden on Jefferson understands that your teeth will rattle out of your head on this one. That is a failed roadway. Some portions are worse than others. Those are all roadways that are going to need to complete reconstruct. So they're going to need pulverization down the road base. They may need or may not need road base added. And then they're going to need 2 lifts of 2 1/4, 2.5 inch asphalt on top of that that's hot rolled. So that is not equipment that we have. We're going to need to contract that out. In addition to that, you've got Second Isle Drive and the Fox Isle Drive that service both of our islands. Those roads are in awful shape. A portion of 5th Street and Meadowview Court we're actually going to try to take on this year as a small mill and overlay project. Those roads don't get a lot of traffic. St. Thomas and Elizabeth both got 1 block's worth of work, but the back parts of them need to redone. And of course, East Main Street is up on deck for funding this year. So all of those roads that I just made mention of, we will discuss going to referendum in 2026 for a street improvement program. It is the only way you're going to get those roads done. They just are too far gone for us to manage on $582,000 a year. That's all the money we put into them, and they will never go. When we do our biennial survey on, our stakeholder survey and ask the residents, what do you think or what do you want? The only thing they've said they would consider supporting a referendum is resurfacing of Jefferson. So I think if we do those all in one shot, there's a reasonable opportunity for that to go. And then the residents are the ones saying, hey, raise our taxes. It's not the board doing it. Board, you do have the authority, and Finance Committee can make a recommendation to the board that you just go borrow the money and fix those streets, but it would result in a net increase in taxes. That's not our recommendation. Our recommendation is that you use statute to your advantage, you take it to referendum, and then you tell the public, hey, look, every other year we're gonna come back and ask you if you want us to do these roads or not, and if not, we're just gonna leave them as they are. We'll do the best we can with the $583,000 in funding that we've got.
What's the guesstimate on Jefferson? Because like 2-3 years ago, it was 12 million.
You have that sheet from Brett. Rick will pull it up. We got a.
Because I think that's important.
It's not as bad as we thought.
Oh, that's good.
So to get all of those done, I'm gonna go from memory. It was like less than $6 million. So at that point, it becomes a very reasonable tax increase. The other thing that I'll say about doing that is that as a finance committee, when your overall mill rate goes up, your TIDs perform better. So one of the challenges you have in the TIDs is as the property value goes, the mill rate goes down. And so you end up not necessarily earning the money that you could earn in those TIDs to deal with 5 years of cliff payments.
Well, I mean, under 6 million, and we're looking at 3 million to bury power lines. I'd rather take that 3 million from the power lines and throw it in the Jefferson.
So you don't have that either.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if we were doing it, if we were talking
You know
dollar
there's
amounts.
money there.
It's just not there.
Well, I know it's not there, but I mean,
Yeah, I hear you, but
you know where I'm coming from principle.
right. Yeah, if it was fungible money and it actually existed, sure, I'd agree with it. But like one, the money doesn't exist, and two, it's not fungible, so it's not a either or.
If we were going to borrow. Jefferson.
Yeah, and that's what Don said last meeting also. So road salt on page 21 while Rick's seeing if he can find that email from Brett. We budget 60,000 as a placeholder. Some years we have more, some years we have less. I did ask our DPW committee about addressing our street lighting budget. So the town of Waterford is 10 times the size of the village of Waterford. Does anybody think the town of Waterford has $1 million street lighting budget? No, they don't. Do we think the town is any less safe than the village? No, we know it isn't because we've looked at police data.
The town don't have any streetlights.
Right. So the question is, why do we have them the way that we have them? I think we should at least just look at what we have for streetlights, and if there are some that can be pulled out or removed, it would be helpful if we could do that and save some money long term. I'm not saying we pull a single one, I'm saying we should look at it. There are some streets that you've got an abundance of lighting on, some of them you don't have hardly any lighting on. There's wide opinion in the village about it one way or the other.
Safety. Streetlights are safety.
So the research is that there is no difference from a traffic safety standpoint on lit lights, the way we light them, or non-lit streets. Again, there are no more traffic accidents happening in the town or not, and we redundantly cover those areas with safety lighting that's up on people's individual houses. So some neighborhoods, as part of their build out, they had lights put out in the front yard, and so you've got front yard lights, and then you also have big halogen street lights.
I've seen electric bills.
Again, I'm not saying you do any of it. I'm saying it's a discussion. If in the end the discussion is, hey, let's don't do anything, then great. We don't do
Streetlights are
anything.
public safety, in my opinion.
Sure. So we're having ongoing conversations about policing and the amount of money we're going to spend on policing. And the bottom line is there is no magic 8 ball for everything you have, and you have declining interest income this coming year with interest rates going down, and that's what's allowing your budget to be balanced out. You also have sewer income and are coding things to your utilities that allow you to balance your budget out. So you're going to need to look at doing business differently, be that raising taxes or raising fees or reducing services. Like that's
revenue, income
right.
as a municipality, which is hard for people to put their arms
Is
around.
taxes.
Okay, something that we can bring income.
Right.
Okay, which
Right.
we've talked about at various points. We don't need to get into now, but
Right.
kind of outside the box thinking to attempt to maybe bring income into the village.
you need long-term investments in real assets that generate income. That could be like your boat launch, where you're bringing in $15,000 income, or your slip rentals, where you're bringing in, another $30,000 a year in income.
Yeah.
That could be fire station number one, where you're going to bring in, whatever it is you're bringing in income. That could be other properties
What
that
about
you
the-
have.
What city did Bob talk to?
Howard, where they own 134 apartments.
That's
And
where
they lease them?
that's where you start to get me if we own those. Where my apartment, my
Oh,
rigid
oh.
yeah.
Look at this guy. Okay,
No, if it's income, because we need the income.
we need the income.
I start to break on that one a little bit.
Okay.
I'll be honest.
Get ready to be broken.
So we have.
You're already
something
gonna
that'll be
break me
coming
anyway,
forward
so-
for you to look at.
At least gonna have the conversation.
But we should,
Yeah,
especially with what Bob said about Howard. I mean, it's very intriguing.
I've been having a lot of great conversations with the head guy at Newman lately, who's doing our development by Trailside, and he keeps saying, "You guys are a very innovative municipality, and when a municipality decides to attempt to take a little bit of risk and get involved in home building or apartment building and managing, they are going to crush it because we are running they're running out of the tools to continue to get on."
Can I ask that the administrator get some data from Howard?
Sure.
On their income and
Yeah.
what they spent and how it offsets taxes. I think that'd be important for finance and the board.
I'll
You can actually break me on that.
I'll share one from my time in Sister Bay, right? And that's one I've just got off the top of my head. So we owned the Sister Bay Marina, much like you own the docks here. They're really no different than apartments or commercial structures or anything else. So the Village of Sister Bay brought in $650,000 in gross income. We did have the operations of, having marina staff and dealing with long-term maintenance. But we took $150,000 in what we considered profit and used it to buy down the tax rates from our ownership of the marina. So,
Or go to the roads.
But it went to everything, right? So you need income to balance your budget, and you've been lucky to be in the interest rate environment that we've been in, even though by historic, measures, it's a really low interest rate environment. You're bringing in a few $100,000 a year of interest. And as the Fed presumably enters this rate cutting cycle, your interest rate income is going to drop, your deficit's going to get bigger, and you're going to need other income mechanisms.
Can you get us a cost estimate of what it would cost the village if we pursued
I'm
something
already
like that?
working on something. So over by Spanky's, I'll be bringing you back sort of
Breaking point, Randy.
a preliminary plan.
As long as it can be single family homes too.
So no, this is a plan to transition them, right? So I've taken into account everything that I've heard in my time here, and so what we're going to look at discussing is fourplexes, which is the largest multifamily that is treated as a single family by the FHA, and putting some qualifiers within a development agreement. So let's get a pre-approved, first of all, let's do a cost analysis on this thing. Second of all, let's get a pre-approved set of plans that's already been through Plan Commission and Village Board that we're okay with architecturally and structurally. And then let's get a development agreement that's boilerplate pre-approved, so that when somebody comes in and says, hey, I've got X amount of cash for what we've decided to sell these things for, I don't have to run them through a long approval process. I can say, show me your bank financing, and then let's move on to closing, sign this development agreement, you're on your way. So we
And
can
the,
speed
being in
everything
the
up.
TID district, that doesn't,
It helps us.
it doesn't.
Yeah, it helps us. So I think that in addition to us owning some of those assets while we're working alongside private developers will present sort of a unique hybrid opportunity for us. Sorry, Don.
Do you plan on putting the infrastructure in as you go?
Yeah,
Or-
piece by piece. The way I did this one, and I've been working with Tracy on it, is I think we can maybe get 3 pad sites without spending a dime, and that's our market test. If we can sell those 3, then okay, great. Then we go do phase 1, but we get 3 before we even get to phase
Because you
1.
talked about $2 million infrastructure.
Yeah. I'm trying to just.
And we also
do.
have some local developers that would love to be involved in some development locally. That'd be a perfect expression of interest.
So what I would like to propose to you is that, and I've had conversations with Matt Allen about it, Matt agrees with me, as a fourplex, that represents kind of an onboarding point for a real estate developer. You're actually going to look for a really young entry-level real estate developer because they're going to be able to get a 3.5% FHA conforming loan. And the way they're going to get that is they're going to move into the unit to begin with, and they'll rent 3 of them. But as soon as they can, they're going to move them and their family out because they're probably not going to want to live in a fourplex, which means now you have an absentee landlord. So what I would like to write into the development agreement is a provision. They have to annually certify the residents inside of that structure, and on the year that they no longer live there, they're required to condoize and sell those
Are we
units.
the landlord?
For some of them, we would be.
I would do all of them.
Well, maybe. We'll kick it around and talk about it.
If we're gonna play Monopoly, let's play Monopoly.
Well,
McDonald's is gonna play Monopoly again, so it's for them.
They're gonna ring it.
Yeah, we'll get there. So page 23, court. Your court fines do not offset your cost of operating the court at this point. So, consolidation of court with the town would be really great. So just that's what you're seeing there. What's that? Okay. Page 24. This is court and police. So you have, presumably legislative services over police, which I think is going to emphasize some kind of a police commission. We have contractual services where we've got local police services, town contracts, supplementary duty, and SRO, police fuel, and Racine County's Sheriff's Department covering third shift. In order to make the budget balance, we took it from 289 to 225. I don't think that in any way impinges public safety, but there are ongoing conversations with the town, and we'll see where those meander, and hopefully Adam can navigate that with Tim. Page 25 is building inspection wages. There's an offsetting building inspection revenue. If you look, over the last several years, we've had 131,000 in actual wages. That's offset by revenue on the other side. We're budgeting for significantly less. If we look at neighborhoods, we just don't have a lot of empty lots anymore. So Jay Hendricks, I'm gonna talk off this map for a minute. So we have now completely built out the River Ridge subdivision. So no new income coming there from building permitting. We've completely built out the Fox Run subdivision, which is Willow Bend, Meadowgate, and Still Pond. So no more net new construction or impact fee revenue coming off of that. Belinsky is moving at a snail's pace over here. They've now built and sold 12 units. They've been doing it for how many years, Andy? 5 plus,
Yeah,
I think.
probably thereabout.
So, just we don't expect a lot of activity to come out of that one. Newman is plowing ahead at a good clip on their project, so we'll get some inspection revenues off of that. But we're done building big apartment complexes, and that's what made up a lot of the revenue in the past, because that one's already been completed, and we don't have any others that are even currently in negotiation for going off the drawing board.
What about the land by the gravel pit across from the school?
So we have reached out to different property owners. I had a meeting with the Rogalskis a couple of weeks ago about their piece of it. The problem with the gravel pit is there's a gravel pit. And so if we were to develop it, the question becomes, what will we develop it as? And, if you look at our comp plan, it suggests either industrial or single family. I don't think we're gonna get a single family developer to come in and look at that at all with an operating gravel pit next door. I had to deal with one of those in Sister Bay, and so you have backup alarms at 5 a.m. that are OSHA compliant, so it's like a loud beep, 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 nobody can go by
The
it.
reason why the developer didn't do it there is because you got swamp, you got a lot of challenges.
Yeah, wetland.
But it's just perfect to do the affordable single-family homes right by the school. It's attractive. I mean, the gravel pit kind of kills it. I get it.
Yeah.
But that property across from the
And
school
you
is
have no
perfect.
access, that road has no access.
Right.
Easement.
And there's a wetland right there where you put the roadway in. Don and I looked at all this back when 2018. We did a full wetland delineation survey on it.
There's no official easement on that road that goes
Right.
to school.
So
So there's the problem.
Yeah, the quarry owner would have to dedicate a right of way, and we've reached out to essentially every property owner around the village. There may be one property that's coming up. It's kind of awkwardly situated. We'll get into it when we get there. Moving on. Page 26 are emergency services rates for our ambulance. They are unchanged from 2025. Going to page 27, we're budgeting for increased revenue for EMS services. That is in part from last year's rate increase, and that is in part because we are able to field a second ambulance consistently on weekdays, Monday through Friday, when Zeke and Rachel are here. And we've also been successful in having some callbacks come in to take those second runs as they go out. We have now, I'll talk about when we get there. Collections have been steady, and we are now getting a Medicaid supplemental revenue stream That first lump of 43,443 was for 2 years lumped together, and then we're budgeting 25,000 for 2026. So those are all positives within EMS. The EMS department contains funding for 6 full-time employees, cross-staffing WRS, and the general staff wage allocation there is Rachel. Going on to page 30, this is FAP. I need to ask Michelle about why that is a 0 on the FAP line for 2026, and I've missed that, so I will come back to you on it. Oh no, sorry. Nope, my mistake. I see what's going on. So 37,441 in revenue. We will change that budget at 5375 to 37,441. That's the issue. Page 30. I'm realizing we've got an error entry there.
Cause of 102 funds, you always get 102.
Yeah, you do until somebody doesn't fill out the paperwork and submit it, and that would be a previous emergency medical services director, where you see that 0 under 2024 actual, and that 0 under 2023 actual. Page 31, Interfacility. Notice there's a negative fund balance for beginning of year 2026, so we have done a transfer from the general fund to zero that out, along with budgeted income of $360,000 for the year. You have corresponding wages and salaries, and then a ending cash balance of negative $98,854. Zeke, why would we do that? And the answer is, turn the page to page 32, and what you have there is what I'll call your really would like to have crewing. So this is your third person full-time operating out of that building, and 2 of those positions as of right now are frozen. If a third one leaves us, we'll look at freezing that. What we've instead replaced it with are 730 calls of an $80 stipend. So that means you can do 2 $80 stipends to have 2 people available for nights and weekends to make sure we can get that second ambulance out. And if we are able to garner interfacilities revenue, we'll be looking at this monthly. We'll look at unfreezing those positions and hiring those folks back in. This allows us to sidestep the matter of layoffs for the time being and buy some time. Dalton Brandt has been appointed emergency services director over there. Kurt Spots had an injury and he's going to be out of commission for some time. Dalton's been working at Interfacilities diligently. He's communicated with a number of executives from both ProHealth and Aurora, and we have now done 2 Interfacilities transports, which is a start.
Better than none.
It's better than none. All right, going on to page 33, special funds. You guys have had a look at this before. We stripped it out to just show a transfer to TID number 3 for the East Main Street construction project. Major items that are in here are you have a little bit of an increase in state funds from 154,880 to 163,830 for your transfer from general government funds. That's your Act 12 money that goes into highway engineering, and we'll be using that for the road improvement plans that were discussed earlier related to Jefferson and those neighborhood roadways. We also have a transfer in of impact fees from the library fund, because we plan to do the library roof. And then we have an LRIP grant that Rick got us an amount of $400,000. That's a reimbursable grant used to offset the cost of East Main Street. We plan to spend $25,000 in information technology software. $90,000 is a new police cruiser. If we go forward with a joint department, you can cut that basically in half.
Do we need a new police cruiser?
You need a new police cruiser.
I mean, it's just been sitting. It's not like
It's got a blown head gasket we've had at the shop several times, and police cruisers get about 5 years on them before you cycle them out.
That means they've been ripping it.
That's what they
Fleet's
do.
older than you think it is.
It is.
It's quite, it's,
I think we bought one in my 8 years here.
Yeah.
Well,
The other one was a roof one.
Yeah.
but to Zeke's point, if we work out the details with the joint police contract, hopefully capital costs will be more in line and equally shared, so hopefully that number will be roughly in half.
Okay.
If we go that route next year.
Okay, we've budgeted for some turnout gear, some other smaller fire-related items. And if you flip over to detail, you'll see all of that. So go to page 34 and 35. Each of the items individually funded. So portable radios, handheld radios with chargers, turnout gear is the $49.9. We have a lawnmower. I'm sorry, a chipper and a lawnmower for DPW, some paving equipment. This is second skid steer and the associated apparatus to go along with that. We can run that asphalt machine faster than we can keep it loaded with asphalt, and this is the limiting factor right now. So if we're going to make headway on the roads with that $550,000 in street repair work, we need to optimize the labor that we're using with it. You can see the other $163,830. That's that engineering money I was talking about. For parks and facilities, we've got minor upgrades to Whitford Park Pavilion that were contemplated this year. Mike got busy with some other things, so we're renewing that as a funding for 26.
Question.
Yes, sir.
Are we on page 36?
Getting there. Go for it.
There's a few things. Let's see here. In the green section,
Yes, sir.
what's a bike path connector to Cornerstone?
So we-
$42,000.
We have a number of areas that are just disconnected, but make people are walking to them, but they're either cutting cattle paths or not using the land in the most efficient way. This allows us to go and put in pathways and cut everything out. So this is over by Cornerstone. We've got a pond that's out at the intersection of 164 and 36. People go out there and fish frequently, and it's not connected to the Alsea Conservancy. So people are cutting behind yards and avoiding buckthorn, and we need to go in and rip out all the buckthorn, put a path in.
Isn't it just swamped out through there?
No, there's a big path that's out there that's got put in place way before us, before we bought the land, and it just hadn't been maintained. And the pathway around Alsea Conservancy needs to be maintained also. It's settled over the years, and at different times you can't walk all the way around it because it kind of turns into swamp.
Speaking of the, go ahead, Doug.
Oh, go ahead and finish.
Speaking of the ponds, especially when you get past 164 heading south, can we get some fountains in those ponds to get so they don't look so stagnant, or just get some ambiance?
They're
there?
not our ponds.
They're not? Whose are they?
Yeah, the house in Runsheimer, we own a little bit of it, and there used to be
South of
areas in there.
164? Those aren't ours?
Oh, south.
South of
Yeah,
164.
south of 164, they are
That's
either
the
Pro
fine.
Hilts or one of them is ours.
Because I'd really like to see that landscape with some fountains. It's just a nice one when you go by it.
I guess I'm going to ask you to speak a little bit, but I'm going to give you a different perspective on it, which is we met with all the property owners back in 2018,